What's going on, guys, and welcome to my audio review of Friday Night SmackDown for March 5th, 2021. I am Graham G.S. Matthews. Hope you guys are doing well. These SmackDown audio reviews usually do go up on Saturdays, so I apologize for the delay. I was just busy this past week, so I couldn't record it on Saturday as well as the Talking Smack review, but they are up today, so better late than never, I suppose. I guess there really was no rush in me wanting to review this show. Just because, for as good as SmackDown has been since Roman Reigns returned last year and has been doing the best work of his career, and he was great on this show as well, this was a very abysmal episode of Friday Night SmackDown. And again, it's not just the Roman Reigns show. I do joke about that a lot, and it is definitely true. But there's a lot of other stuff on SmackDown I'm digging right now, from the Intercontinental Championship picture, Bianca Belair and Sasha Banks. I'm digging that as the SmackDown Women's Championship feud. Jey Uso's career resurgence. Daniel Bryan doing his thing right now. The mini push of Cesaro. Seth Rollins feuding with Cesaro right now, among other things. There's a lot of stuff on SmackDown I'm really liking right now. There's a lot of other stuff I just don't give a shit about. And unfortunately, the stuff I didn't give a shit about dominated this show. For example, we got a lot of random singles matches that I just had no interest in seeing. And the only thing from this show, in my opinion, that salvaged it was the main event, the steel cage main event between Daniel Bryan and Jey Uso. And even though the outcome was extremely predictable, with Bryan winning and earning that Universal Championship opportunity at Fastlane, it was still a very good main event. So we'll break it down right here. And I will say, for WrestleMania being just over 4 or 5 weeks away, it doesn't quite feel like it, at least on the SmackDown side of things. And the funny thing is that we already have our 2 top WrestleMania matches set, in Bianca versus Sasha and Edge and Roman. But I'll get to the Sasha and Bianca stuff momentarily. It's not their fault. But whatever they did on this show did not make me any more excited for Fastlane or even WrestleMania in a month from now. So speaking of Bryan and Roman Reigns, they kicked off the show this week in a very long talking opening segment. We didn't get our first match on the show until close to fucking 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. The entire first half an hour of the show was dedicated to a verbal exchange between Daniel Bryan and Roman Reigns. Daniel Bryan was talking about how, he's had to overcome the odds before, and he so desperately wants to get back to the main event of WrestleMania. He feels he deserves to be in that spot over Roman Reigns and Edge. He has wrestled more matches in the last 3 weeks on SmackDown than either Roman Reigns or Edge combined in 2021, which is a fact, by the way. It's a fact. Roman Reigns wrestled at the Rumble, and then he wrestled the Elimination Chamber for like a minute. That's 2 matches for Roman. And Edge has only wrestled twice this year as well. He wrestled in the Royal Rumble match itself, and then Edge battled Randy Orton on the next night's Raw. So he has only also had 2 matches this year. That's 4 matches for Roman and Edge in 2021. Daniel Bryan wrestles almost every single week on SmackDown, whether it's a singles match. He was in the Rumble for a long time. He wrestled twice at Elimination Chamber. He pulled double duty at Elimination Chamber. He does tag team matches. The guy is in action all the time. So he's really making the most of this last run, including on this show too, by the way. He wrestled in the main event, of course. So Bryan is really making the most out of this last run for himself inside the ring. But I thought this was great. I thought it could have been better. The Bryan stuff I felt like I had heard before. I got to overcome the odds, blah, blah, blah. I just don't honestly buy into the possibility of Bryan beating Roman. And I said this last week. It's a great feud. I'm really excited to see what they can do leading up to Fastlane, at Fastlane itself. I'm sure the match will be great. The problem is that there is zero sense of, not excitement, but zero sense of unpredictability there. Daniel Bryan is not going to win 3 weeks out from WrestleMania, nor should he. I know Bobby Lashley just won the WWE Championship a month out from WrestleMania on Raw from The Miz. That's a different situation. Roman Reigns has been champion now since August, 31st? He's been champion for a really, really long time. Since the final weekend of August. That's 6-7 months ago. They are not going to take the championship off of Roman Reigns before WrestleMania, nor should they. Edge wasn't on the show, which was weird. He was kind of on last week's show. Wasn't on this week's show, which was bizarre, considering he was one half of the WrestleMania main event. I know the focus is on Roman and Bryan, which it should be, and then that's great. It's a great attraction for Fastlane, but it further proves my point that these interim WrestleMania pay-per-views that we get are completely pointless, because no one is buying Bryan as a legitimate threat to Roman Reigns. I thought the opening segment was good, albeit a bit long. And just, I guess if you're going to do this type of stuff, my phone just went off, I apologize. But I feel like if you're going to do this type of stuff, save it for a little later on in the show. I feel like we should not be going a full 30 minutes without any wrestling whatsoever. And they even had to take a commercial break halfway through this segment. When Roman Reigns came out, during his entrance, they went to commercial break. That's how long the segment was. And again, it was good stuff. Not the best exchange they could have had on the mic. It was good. But it doesn't help that the predictability surrounding the outcome of the pay-per-view, that doesn't exactly help matters. So our first match on the show, after a half an hour of just talking, we got our first match on the show. Unfortunately, it wasn't very good. Montez Ford battling King Corbin. Not a bad match, but just why? I see this advertised and I'm thinking to myself, why? Why are the Street Profits still feuding? Not even feuding, it's only been going on for a week or two now, with Corbin and Sami Zayn. Why is this even a thing? Corbin and Zayn should be off doing their own thing. What exactly, I don't know. I know Corbin had just wrapped up his rivalry with Rey Mysterio. That didn't exactly go anywhere. Now they're stuck in a dead-end feud right now with fucking Otis and Chad Gable. This division is a goddamn mess. I didn't see Rude and Ziggler on the show. They've been completely absent from SmackDown for the most part since they became SmackDown Tag Team Champions. What was even the point of putting the belts on these guys if they were never really going to be on the show to begin with? They should have never taken the belts off the Profits. So Montez Ford lost to Corbin here. A nice little match, but again, what the fuck does this shit even mean? Corbin beats Ford, and then Angelo Dawkins beats Sami Zayn, a former Intercontinental Champion, by the way, which I guess it plays into the whole conspiracy thing. Zayn went off and his cameramen attacked them. You know, that's cool and all, but why should I care? Like, what is this supposed to be leading to? Corbin and Zayn? I mean, who cares? My guess is that it's leading to a multi-team match at WrestleMania for the tag team titles. The Profits, Corbin and Zayn, which is terrible, but I guess it gets Corbin out of a marquee match or out of like a top main event match. I mean, he wouldn't be in the main event, but out of like a singles match at WrestleMania, which at this point, I love Corbin, but with the King gimmick, it's complete crap. He's got to move on from it. It's not worthy of a singles match at WrestleMania. So I guess him and Zayn teaming up is for the best, I guess. I don't know. But I assume this is leading to Rude and Ziggler, the Profits, Corbin and Zayn, the Mysterios, and then Gable and Otis in like a 5-team match or a gauntlet or whatever the hell for the SmackDown Tag Team titles, because they really can't come up with anything else. I feel like for every fucking year now, we've gotten multi-team matches for the SmackDown Tag Team Championships at WrestleMania. I don't know if we've ever had a WrestleMania where the SmackDown Tag Team titles were defended in a straight-up 2-on-2 match, because I guess it's very difficult for them to create compelling feuds for those titles specifically. Sometimes for the Raw Tag Team titles, I mean, the tag team titles in WWE just in general are a mess, men's or women's. But specifically for the SmackDown Tag Team division, outside of the Usos and the New Day from 3 or 4 years ago, which is going back a while, have we had one single good feud over those championships? The Usos and American Alpha, I don't even think happened over the tag team titles, and even that was 5 years ago. I mean, we're going back a long time now. Last year we had it wasn't even a tag team match. They made it into a triple threat singles ladder match between Morrison, I think Jimmy Uso or Jay, I don't remember. I'm pretty sure it was Jimmy Uso. John Morrison, Jimmy Uso, and Kofi Kingston for the SmackDown Tag Team titles. So that was a multi-man, multi-team match last year. WrestleMania 35, I was there for that one. It was Ricochet and Aleister Black. The Usos, was it Rusev and Nakamura? I don't even remember. Who was the fourth team? I have no fucking clue. But we got a Fatal 4-Way match on that show. WrestleMania 34, it was the Usos, the New Day, and the Bludgeon Brothers. And then at WrestleMania 33, we didn't even have a SmackDown Tag Team title match on that show. The Usos, who were the Tag Team Champions at that point, were in the fucking Andre Battle Royal. And they weren't around in 2016. So we have literally never had a straight-up 2-on-2 regular match for the tag titles of WrestleMania. I can guarantee you this year will be no different. The match they should have done was the Profits either as champions or challenging or whatever versus the Usos. Now, I understand that the Usos can't go because, Jimmy's not ready to come back yet. I had seen that he was training, so hopefully he is back at some point. Jay's doing great work on his own right now, don't get me wrong. But the Usos being back in the tag team title picture, I know they've been tag team champions many, 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 many times. But them and the Profits is a fresh match. I don't know if it's a dream match, but it's a fresh match you can do. That to me feels like it's WrestleMania worthy. There is no other match from this division, and that is completely the fault of the company, that feels like it's WrestleMania worthy for those championships. So I know I complain, we're going to get into their multi-team match, but it's also an issue of what would you do instead? The Profits versus Roode and Ziggler? Again, absolutely no thanks. We've already seen that a million times. I think the Usos, maybe not the Usos, but Roode and Ziggler versus the Mysterios might be fine. It would get the Profits off of WrestleMania, unfortunately. It would leave them off, but, the Mysterios winning their first belts together as a father-son duo, I think would be cool. But they haven't been built up enough. Mysterio, or rather Dominik Mysterio, beat Chad Gable on the show in a nice little match. But I don't know, I just feel like that hasn't been built up enough. The Mysterios feel like losers right now. No one really cares about these guys. I don't give a shit about Rey and Dominik Mysterio versus Otis and Gable. To transition from that into them versus Roode and Ziggler at this point, it's too soon. So I'm not even sure if that would work. So like I said, Dominik beat Chad Gable. Who cares? We had the rekindling of a rivalry on the show between Bianca Belair and one half of the WWE Women's Tag Team Champions, Shayna Baszler, who was also on the channel this past week, cheap plug, with yours truly talking all about her NXT appearance, being the tag team champions with Nia Jax, her Raw run so far, and so much more. It was a really, really cool conversation. So if you haven't already checked it out, check out my exclusive interview right now with Shayna Baszler, not only here on the channel in audio form, it went up on Wednesday afternoon, but also in article form on dailyddt.com again from Wednesday afternoon. I would appreciate you checking out that. So it was Shayna and Bianca on this show in a rematch from NXT TakeOver. What was it, Phoenix, I think, from 2 years ago, when Shayna beat Bianca. Bianca could never beat Shayna in NXT. She was like the one person, Shayna was actually the one who snapped Bianca's undefeated streak on that show in NXT 2 years ago, and Bianca always failed to become NXT Women's Champion because of Shayna Baszler. So they had a match on the show. It was solid. Not nearly as being on the level of their TakeOver match, but it was still solid, and Bianca wins. So you're probably wondering, why are they doing this match? Well, in case you live under a rock, you probably already know, we're getting another match between Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax against Bianca Belair and Sasha Banks at the Fastlane pay-per-view for the tag team titles. Why? Just fucking why? I mean, literally, why are we getting another match, seriously, for the tag team titles at Fastlane? Bianca already announced that she's facing Shayna at WrestleMania. The fact they did it in the first place, it was fine. Bianca and Sasha teaming up, failing to win, whatever. Sasha being the one to get pinned. I mean, I guess there's really no great scenario either way. But Sasha getting pinned as the SmackDown Women's Champion by Nia Jax, and I fucking hate Nia Jax, but Nia shouldn't even get a title shot because she's on the opposite show. But I don't know, that just didn't sit well with me. You do it once, they lose, you build to the WrestleMania match, you turn Sasha into a full-blown heel because that's the role that she's best in. They haven't done it yet, and they probably won't do it. Fastlane is not for another 3 weeks. You're not going to get Sasha turning on Bianca before then. They might be saving the turn for WrestleMania itself or after WrestleMania. I've always said she's more of a tweener anyway, because she is the same character that she was as a heel. Currently, she's just facing heels, that's all. She's positioned as a babyface, but she acts like a heel. She's just so incredibly annoying as a character. We're not going to be getting that turn, it looks like, before WrestleMania. You just can't, because after Fastlane, you have 2 or 3 weeks until WrestleMania. And that would be a very quick turnaround to be doing that. So maybe they will, maybe they can't, I don't know. But I just don't understand why we're even getting Fastlane in the first place, but more so why we're getting this match. I mean, honestly, they've been building up Carmella and Bianca for a little while now. Carmella's still in the picture for some reason. I have no fucking idea why. Reginald already cost Bianca the tag team titles at Elimination Chamber. Seriously, why are they doing this again? Do Bianca and Carmella at the pay-per-view. And you're probably thinking, oh, who cares? There's no championships. Who gives a shit? It's a fresh match, unlike that match, the tag team title match. And we know that Bianca, I mean, maybe Carmella could win. I don't think she will. But that's more unpredictable than Bianca and Sasha going for the tag titles. We know they're not going to win, nor should they at this point. I don't want to see any more double champion crap, especially from Sasha or Bayley or Asuka or whoever else. I'm done with that shit. Like, I would much rather see Bianca and Sasha focusing on their own feud than on the tag team titles again. We had Cesaro versus Murphy on the show. Yes, you could take Murphy's face off the back of the milk carton just because he's back on SmackDown. Unfortunately, it looks like any momentum he had after beating Seth Rollins, 3 or 4 months ago, is completely gone. to the point where Murphy attempted to align himself with Seth Rollins on this show. Yeah, for all the abuse that Murphy took at the hands of Rollins last year, he broke away from him, he beat him in a match, had all this momentum, and then he got saddled in a stupid storyline with Aaliyah. We were supposed to believe they were an item. It went nowhere. They were taken off the show, thank God. But that also meant that Murphy was off the show. All that momentum went to complete waste. We haven't seen him since. He resurfaced on this show, tried to tease an alliance with Rollins. Again, dude, why? Why are we going back to the same old shit here? What is the point of Murphy pursuing Rollins? What is the point of Bianca and Sasha pursuing the tag team titles? Why are we going back to the same old shit? It's time to move forward. On the bright side, it was a good little match. Cesaro beating Murphy. I thought they worked well together. It wasn't an instant classic. They didn't get a lot of time. And it was a good match. Rollins sat in on commentary with another ridiculous-looking outfit, looking like the fucking Pink Power Ranger. And I'm assuming we're building to Cesaro and Rollins at Fastlane, and that's fine. I thought this was honestly one of the better parts of the show. I'm shitting on it, but like, this was one of the better parts of the show. My frustration is really more so with the booking of Murphy, or lack thereof with the booking of Murphy. Like, why isn't he on the show more? Why is he apparently a heel again? Just what a waste. And I think he really can be a breakout babyface. After the work that this guy did in the Aleister Black feud on 205 Live, this guy could work as a babyface. Even in that mini feud with Daniel Bryan a few years ago. He beat fucking Daniel Bryan in an episode of SmackDown a year and a half ago, which also went absolutely nowhere. They have this just tendency with Murphy to give him big wins that go absolutely nowhere. And that's once again the case on SmackDown after he beat Seth a couple of months ago. And now he's right back to where he was no more than a year ago. So Apollo Crews was again on the show. I think Crews is doing the best work of his career right now as a heel. I'm really surprised they didn't try to turn him heel earlier than this, but it's great. I talked to Crews at the beginning of 2021, and that was days before he faced Big E for the first time for that Intercontinental Championship. And in that interview, he expressed interest in going heel. So it's cool to see, you know, that kind of surface and to see him do his own thing finally after so many years of just playing the same character. The issue with this segment is that the accent is not very good. Now, I think I said with the accent last week that it's cool that he's referencing his ethnic background. And as I said in this very review a week ago, people were taking exception to the fact, why is he only now referencing his background? Now, I think he said it on Talking Smack this week, saying that people bullied him for it or something. And that's the only reason why he's doing it now. Like, I don't know why we couldn't have gotten this screwed as this version of Apollo Crews as a babyface. It's not that big of a deal. The accent is where I kind of draw the line. Like, people had an issue with the spear and the colors and the guards. I thought all that shit was cool. And if you don't agree, that's completely okay. The accent I thought was a bit of an issue. Like, he goes in and out of it. It's not that great of an accent. So I wish he would just drop that shit. And it's not like he's doing the accent full on. He'll go into it and get out of it. It's like he's fucking Wanda from Age of Ultron or something. Like, she had the Sokovian accent early on. She doesn't have it anymore. I guess WandaVision kind of rectified that, but that's a whole other discussion for a different podcast, which you can check out here in this channel, by the way. WandaVision reviews every single week, so cheap plug for that. Yeah, that was really my only issue with the segment, and I saw a lot of other people say the same thing about the accent from Crews, how he should probably just stop doing it. The segment itself was fine, addressing Big E, who will be back next week, by the way. So with Big E coming back next week, there is a very real chance we see Big E and Crews for that Intercontinental Championship at the Fastlane pay-per-view, which is fine, but at this point I feel like it's WrestleMania worthy. Maybe they'll have Crews win, and then Big E wins it back at WrestleMania. I don't know, but I hope that's the WrestleMania match, and they don't try to shove some other people in there, because I feel like Crews and Big E have built up this very good storyline over the Intercontinental Championship to kind of shoehorn. I love Cesaro, but you got to have a match that makes sense with him. If you try to shoehorn Cesaro in there, or Murphy, or Ray, or someone like that, it's just not necessary. Or even Sami Zayn and King Corbin. You know, I think Crews and Big E is the Mania match, and they've, to their credit, done a great job of, for once, creating a compelling feud over that Intercontinental Championship, and I hope it culminates at WrestleMania, regardless of what they do, if anything, at Fastlane. So we get to the aforementioned main event between Daniel Bryan and Jey Uso inside the steel cage where if Daniel Bryan won, he would earn himself a Universal Championship opportunity at the Fastlane pay-per-view, which he did, of course. But I thought this was a great main event. Jey Uso continues to impress. He hasn't won a big match in a while. Like, he won a lot of matches there for a good stretch of time in late 2020. He beat Daniel Bryan clean. He beat Kevin Owens, who we haven't seen since Elimination Chamber, by the way, which is interesting. But he beat Kevin Owens. He beat Daniel Bryan. He beat, I think, Jeff Hardy, or no, he beat AJ Styles. But he hasn't won a lot of matches since then. He's lost to Kevin Owens a bunch. He's lost to Daniel Bryan a bunch. He lost to Shinsuke Nakamura a few weeks ago. So he's kind of lacking that big win in recent months. But Bryan needed this win too. Bryan's another one who's been lacking that big victory in recent months. He lost at the Royal Rumble. He lost at Elimination Chamber. He won at Elimination Chamber inside the Elimination Chamber, but then he lost to Roman Reigns, so how much did it really mean? But he's lost a lot lately. He lost to Cesaro twice, among other people, so I'm glad that he won here. And we are getting that Bryan Reigns match at Fastlane, but again, I would have saved it until after WrestleMania. So I thought the Steel Cage match really saved this show, because this was not a great episode of SmackDown. Just a lot of mid-card fodder that no one gave a fuck about. The Cruz promo was problematic. Cesaro and Murphy wasn't exactly what it could have been, but it was still good. Belair and Shayna was good. It's just I don't care about Bianca and Sasha versus Nia and Shayna again. We don't need that match again. It should be Raquel and Dakota getting another shot, or even fucking Naomi and Lana. Weren't they the number one contenders at one point? Dominik and Chad, Angelo and Sami, King Corbin and Montez, just a complete waste of time. Not bad matches, but just a waste of time. So that was SmackDown in a nutshell for March 5th, 2021. Really nothing to see here aside from the main event. Anything involving Bryan, Roman, or Uso was great. Everything else, the Cruz promo I thought was good. The accent is an issue. But other than that, I thought this was a pretty abysmal episode of SmackDown overall, unfortunately. Hopefully we get a better show next week with the return of the Intercontinental Champion, Big E. So again, guys, thank you for checking out my SmackDown audio review. I appreciate it. My apologies in putting it up later this week, just due to my busy schedule on Saturday. But yeah, be sure to like this video, drop a comment, share the video, and subscribe to the channel for more daily content, including my Talking Smack review, also coming up today. Reviews of the Heaven documentary on the WWE Network, the Goldberg at 54 documentary, and so much more, including exclusive interviews every single week with the likes of Shayna Baszler, Bobby Lashley, The Miz, Karrion Kross, among others in recent weeks. So be sure to check those out as well. Have a great one, guys. I'm Graham G. Matthews. Enjoy the pay-per-view tonight from AEW, and I'll catch you guys down the road.